Berlin burns, a city ablaze under a sky choked with smoke and ash. Buildings collapse, pulverized by relentless Soviet artillery. Flames dance wildly, casting eerie shadows on the ravaged streets. In the dim solitude of his bunker office, Adolf Hitler sits hunched over his desk, the weight of a crumbling world heavy on his shoulders. The single lamp casts harsh shadows across his gaunt face, highlighting the deep lines etched by stress and sleepless nights. Maps of Berlin, his once proud capital, are now battlegrounds marked by the relentless march of Soviet forces. Each red line on the map signifies another street lost, another dream shattered, another nail in the coffin of his regime. His eyes, once burning with fanatical zeal, are now hollow, reflecting the despair of a leader facing inevitable defeat. The silence of the bunker is broken only by the distant rumble of artillery, a constant reminder of the inferno raging above. Inside the Führerbunker, a heavy table, laden with maps, becomes the focal point, the room filled with thick cigarette smoke. Joseph Goebbels' gaunt face reflects the despair permeating the bunker. Martin Bormann's heavy-set figure sweats as he engages in a heated argument. The Nazi officials' strained voices echo the unspoken dread. A long table dominates the scene, littered with the documents of a crumbling regime. In the confines of the Führerbunker, Eva Braun sits at her vanity, a fragile island of normalcy amidst encroaching chaos. With trembling hands, she meticulously applies makeup, a desperate attempt to maintain composure as the world crumbles. Distant explosions rumble, a constant reminder of the impending doom closing in around her. Eva glances nervously towards the sound, her painted smile momentarily faltering. Her eyes, reflecting a mixture of fear and resignation, betray the carefully constructed facade. The vanity mirror reflects a ghost of beauty, a haunting image of a world about to be lost forever. The narrow corridor of the Führerbunker pulses with hurried footsteps. Soldiers rush by, their uniforms disheveled, faces grim. Staff members clutch documents, their eyes darting nervously. A palpable fear hangs heavy in the air, thick with the stench of despair. Each footstep echoes the crumbling hope of the Reich. The corridor, a claustrophobic artery of impending doom. Inside the Führerbunker, a radio operator strains, sweat glistening as they fight with failing equipment. Static screams from the radio, a chaotic symphony of interference and broken transmissions. Each desperate attempt to connect yields only fragments of grim news, lost in the noise. The air crackles with tension as the operator battles the relentless onslaught of static. Inside the Führerbunker, shadows dance across Hitler's face as he paces, a storm of anxiety brewing within. Restless and fraught, he mutters to himself, the weight of a crumbling empire pressing down on him. In his trembling hand, a cyanide capsule gleams a final, desperate solution. His eyes dart around the bunker, haunted by ghosts of past victories and looming defeat. Contemplation etches deeper lines into his face as he weighs his last, grim options. In the dimly lit Führerbunker, smoke hangs heavy as Goebbels, gaunt and pale, addresses the remaining loyalists. Their faces etched with exhaustion and fear. They are scattered around the scarred table. Goebbels gestures wildly, his voice cracking with forced conviction, a desperate attempt to rally hope. We must not falter. The Führer's vision will prevail. Victory is still within our grasp, he declares. Inside Eva Braun's room, she dances, a figure of lonely elegance, in the Führerbunker, lost in her own world, oblivious to the chaos and despair closing in. The walls vibrate subtly, a low rumble that underscores her dreamlike state. Each pirouette is a defiance, a desperate grasp at normalcy amid the encroaching end. The distant sounds of war grow louder, a stark contrast to the delicate music. Her eyes are closed, shutting out the grim reality for a fleeting moment of peace. Dim light struggles to pierce the oppressive dark of the Führerbunker corridor, casting ominous shadows. The air hangs heavy with the stench of damp concrete and the invisible weight of fear. A young soldier, barely a man, crumbles against the wall, his body racked with silent sobs. His youthful face is hidden in his hands, a mask of utter despair and broken innocence. The muffled sounds of his weeping echo in the desolate corridor, a stark testament to lost hope. In the dim, claustrophobic bunker entrance, a lone radio operator hunches over his equipment, shadows dancing across his face. Static hisses from the speaker, a prelude to the chilling message he strains to capture. His eyes widen, reflecting disbelief as the weight of the transmission crashes down on him. Fear grips him as the reality of the situation becomes clear. A disembodied voice declares the end is near. Soviet forces are at the Brandenburg Gate. Dawn casts a gray pall over Hitler's bunker office, the air heavy with stale smoke and defeat. Hitler's gaunt face is illuminated in the dim light, his hands trembling slightly on the desk. Trottel Jung sits poised, notepad in hand, ready to document the final act. Hitler gestures weakly, the weight of his crumbling world pressing down. "Begin, Fraulein Junge," he commands, his voice a mere whisper of its former power. Dawn breaks weakly over the Führerbunker, its pale light barely piercing the gloom of the conference room. A scarred table, laden with the remnants of a meager meal, dominates the room, a silent testament to dwindling hope. Exhausted figures huddle around the table, their faces gaunt and shadowed, each lost in their own despair. The clinking of cutlery echoes in the oppressive silence, a stark reminder of the world outside, now lost to them. Defeat hangs heavy in the air, a palpable weight that crushes any remaining flicker of defiance. In the dim light of dawn, Eva Braun surveys her limited wardrobe, a somber task before the day's grim events. With deliberate care, she selects her finest dress, each movement precise, each fold of fabric smoothed with finality. The fabric whispers softly as she prepares, a poignant prelude to her last act. Her hands tremble slightly as she adjusts the neckline, a subtle betray of the fear beneath her composure. Each detail of her appearance is meticulously attended to, a desperate attempt to maintain dignity in the face of doom. She pauses, a fleeting moment of reflection in her eyes, before steeling herself for the inevitable. Dawn breaks, but underground, the Führerbunker remains cloaked in shadows. The distant rattle of Soviet gunfire echoes ominously through the bunker's cold concrete corridor. Each blast vibrates through the walls, a constant reminder of the impending doom. The sound grows louder, a relentless march of destruction approaching the bunker's heart. Fear hangs heavy in the air, a palpable tension gripping every soul trapped within. The corridor, once a symbol of power, now serves as a grim acoustic chamber for the sounds of war. Dawn breaks on the Führerbunker entrance, casting long shadows that dance with the dust. Inside, a lone radio operator's face is a canvas of stark terror, his eyes wide with impending doom. He abandons his post, a desperate scramble away from the inevitable Soviet onslaught. The hum of the radio, once a lifeline, fades into silence as chaos descends. The bunker awaits, a tomb anticipating its occupants as the enemy draws near. In the Führerbunker, Hitler's hollow eyes reflect the dim light as he stands rigidly before his staff. He offers brief, weak handshakes, his distant gaze betraying a detachment from the crumbling world. Each interaction is perfunctory, a mere formality in the face of impending doom. His grip lacks strength, mirroring the waning power he desperately clings to. The air hangs heavy with unspoken dread, a palpable sense of finality permeating the bunker. Bare bulbs cast eerie shadows in the Führerbunker corridor, the air heavy with damp concrete and fear. Joseph Goebbels paces, his immaculate suit a stark contrast to the grim surroundings. Magda watches Joseph, her face pale, a blend of affection and worry etched in her gaze. Magda's voice, soft yet firm. "Are you certain this is the right decision, Joseph?" Joseph's chilling resolve hardens his features. "It is the only honorable one, Magda." In the stark confines of the Führerbunker, Hitler strides into his office, his presence filling the space with a heavy silence. Eva Braun follows closely, her expression unreadable as they step into the room. The heavy door swings shut, sealing them off from the outside world in the chaos of the collapsing Reich. A sense of isolation descends as the sounds of war are muffled by the bunker's thick walls. Hitler surveys his domain, a final, desperate attempt to maintain control in the face of inevitable defeat. Eva's shadow stretches long against the wall. In the depths of the Führerbunker, Hitler's office stands as a silent witness. A single sharp gunshot shatters the tense stillness, its echo reverberating through the concrete. The sound fades, leaving behind an oppressive silence that weighs heavily in the air. The bunker is now a tomb, sealed off from the world above, holding its dark secrets close. Bormann and others enter Hitler's office, a cautious dread hanging in the air. The room is eerily still, the silence a heavy blanket. An unspoken truth permeates the bunker, thick with finality. The weight of the end settles upon each entrant. Narration: Hitler and Eva Braun are dead. Their reign is over, leaving behind a void of silence. Amidst relentless shelling, The Reich Chancellery Garden becomes a stage for grim finality. Hitler's body is carried out, a silent, defeated figure against the backdrop of war. A shallow grave awaits, a temporary resting place hastily dug in the ravaged earth. Flames engulf the body, a pyre of defeat, burning under the watchful eyes of loyal soldiers. The fire reflects in the eyes of the remaining soldiers, a haunting mix of despair and resignation. Smoke rises, carrying secrets and failures into the chaotic sky above the Reich Chancellery. Dim light fills Goebbels' room in the Führerbunker, the air heavy with dread. Magda Goebbels watches over her sleeping children, her face a mask of sorrow. A chilling resolve hardens her features as she prepares the poison. Her hand trembles, the weight of her actions pressing down on her. The children sleep on, unaware of the horror about to unfold. Berlin's shattered streets stretch into the distance, a stark testament to the ravages of war. Soviet soldiers emerge from the ruins, their faces grim with determination. They raise the Soviet flag, a symbol of triumph amidst the devastation. The flag waves high above the Reichstag, a definitive end to Nazi Germany. The sky reflects the red banner, casting a somber light on the fallen city. A new era dawns over Berlin, marked by the echoes of victory and the cost of war. The corridors stand silent, a haunting echo of the once bustling Führerbunker. In the dim light, the last occupants scramble, their faces etched with horror and despair. Each step is a desperate plea, a futile attempt to outrun the inevitable end. The air is thick with the weight of defeat, a palpable sense of finality. Empty and still, the bunker remains, a tomb for lost hopes and shattered dreams.